Your attention, please. It's time for the final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
And you're here for another edition of Doc's Taking on the Mormish. The clinic is open, Doc is here, and it is time for your daily dose of reality. Let's get this show on the road. Hey, welcome everybody to this edition of Doc's Taking on the Mormish. You are in the clinic, Doc is here. I do apologize, it's been a while since I've done a video as of late. Just some new real life stuff has stepped in, new job and such. So we are back, and we have a video today coming from the great Enforce the Constitution group up in Maryland. That bunch of crazy moops. They have their fake Moorish sheriff investigation. You're gonna see in this video they do a lot of circle talking, word salad. You know, they kind of go on that whole thing, oh, I'm indigenous to the land, all that stuff, and counselor court. And so they're talking to I believe maybe the deputy sheriff. I don't think it is the sheriff. I think it's somebody they just threw out there to handle this. So let's go ahead. Let's get that video here that we have for you guys. You know, like I said, it's quite interesting. And here we go. This is the fake, quote-unquote, Morocco counselor court investigation with Prince George County Sheriff's Department. This is up in Maryland. So let's get right to it.
First, diplomacy.
So right away, you see they're in their vehicles. They got the little flags, like they're some sort of
they all have
diplomatic immunity. No. Now, what's really interesting is they actually have legit plates.
Game right now, basically trying to say, you know.
Two of the vehicles do. I believe this one in front has a fake Mormish plate. Yeah. So they're rolling up to this sheriff's department, and it's just really weird. I guess what happened to this is there was a traffic ticket, and so that had already been taken care of, and now here we go. You know, they got to show like they got some power, like they know what they're talking about, but they actually have no idea what they're talking about. So
definitely some real life stuff. Yeah, definitely. That's where we pulling up at, baby. Office of the Sheriff, Sharif PG.
It is not Sharif. That's their false pronunciation of the word sheriff. So, again, it's...
I said Brother Martin knew I was going to have a camera like this. He probably... Well.
And what's really funny is they steal the Moroccan flag, the actual flag of Morocco for this. Not a bad little intro, though. And you see how, you know, again, none of that works. So here we go. We got some of them in fatigues. You know, they got their fez. Remember, that is the hat of the oppressors from the Ottoman Empire. So, again, they're wearing something. They don't know what it means. Same thing with Mr. Wannabe Prophet Drew. And, again, here they go. You know, woodland fatigues with their little patches on them. You can find those on eBay, by the way, too. I'll post a link if you want to see it. So it's really weird here. You got one guy wearing his ball cap with his sunglasses on. You got this one guy with a mask across his face holding the flag. You got another guy that looks like he's got a big old graduation tassel hanging off the back of his hat. And he's all those guys in the back. They're just like, okay.
What we're saying,
And again, you know, hold that flag of Morocco. I don't even think that's the Moroccan flag. I think they changed that quite a bit. So,
on the first time in the town.
Really? You've never been?
Never.
Enjoying it.
What's going on, brother? I found something, Drew.
Yes, sir.
Question. A few questions right
Yes, sir.
How you doing today?
All right, how about yourself?
All right.
I sent the email. So if this was a surprise, I apologize about the surprise. But
It's a public building. Hey, all means. We welcome everybody.
all right, yeah. So greetings. I'm Lamont Maurice L. I am the consul of this territory, the consul general. We are representatives of the consul general of Morocco.
Wow! The land of make-believe!
I'm sorry, I just had to put that in there right away. Is the council? None of these people, by the way, have any sort of authority with the actual Council of Morocco. They have none. So.
You take a seat when he offered, but you ain't want to offer my seat?
Well, now I was waiting for the man to talk to you.
okay.
I didn't get a chance to introduce myself. I'm
Yes, sir.
Colonel Carr. I'm in charge. Yeah, Carr. C-A-R-R. I'm in charge of the drill and field operations.
Now, what's weird too is when you look this stuff up, there's this is like a sub office of the sheriff's
Now,
department.
are you also competent in, because I've been trying to figure out who is supposed to be an officer with every law enforcement agency competent on constant notification and access? Yes, we are.
No, there is not supposed to be an officer in every single department competent in whatever he's just talking. That's just one of these. So again, that is not a law. It's not a requirement. None of that.
Yeah.
So you would be the one to talk to?
Yes. We also have everybody here been actually trained in reference to when dealing with the diplomat, how we are to conduct ourselves and how to interact with them.
Right,
So
right.
we do that during in-service, so everybody is trained on that.
Definitely. Okay. So
Now, if you look at this guy right here, the one that's got the neat little tassels on, or this little, I don't know what you want to call it. It literally looks like he just opened that up today. You can still see the creases in it. I highly doubt that this was pressed and folded and put in his sock drawer. This is something that looks like he just pulled out of the package.
there was an eviction that occurred on Thursday, October 22nd at Iverson Towers. Are you familiar with that? There was a 4301 23rd Parkway.
I am familiar that we did evictions at that address.
Okay.
At
So
Iverson Tower.
So let's talk about that. So I did a video at how hard-headed mopes are, and that's exactly what they're talking about. So leading up to this right here, this is what came about from those evictions. So they didn't, obviously she didn't pay, and I'm betting this guy is the guy that was talking to him. I think that's Lamont right here, or Lamont Maurice or Maurice Lamont L. And so in this, I believe that what happened was she didn't pay the money. They got 3 different letters, and I think they owed like $9,000, and they gave them the chance to pay that money, that back rent that they refused to pay. And so since they didn't pay it and within the specified amount of time, they turned around and did eviction proceedings and the eviction process in the court. Now, this was all explained in that video. That the lady from the clerk's office explained this to them. And you kept hearing Lamont, oh, there's no judge. There's no judge. There's no judge. Well, again, there was a judge, an administrative judge, who signed all of those through electronic or stamped wet ink signature, because that would have been wet ink. And so now he's going to talk about that here because that's what the sheriff's department would have taken care of.
Yep. So there was one of our nationals, Phyllis Watson Bay.
Okay, so Phyllis Watson is not a national, not a Moorish national or Moroccan national. She is a U.S. national because she was born here in the United States of America, has a birth certificate, has U.S. citizenship due to her being born here. I guarantee you she's never been to Morocco, so she has no other citizenship. She is a U.S. national because her nation she lives in is the United States of America. She's also a state citizen because the state they live in, which is Maryland. So again, she's not a Moroccan national. She's not a Moorish national. She's not a foreign national. She's none of those.
She said that, she actually called the consulate on the phone while the alleged eviction was going on. And she announced.
So she didn't call a consulate. Okay, I'm gonna 100% put this in your back pocket. She did not call the Moroccan consulate. Because there's two of them. There's one in Washington, D.C. There's one in New York. Guarantee you, she did not call that consulate. Guarantee it. She called a number they gave, which probably rings to somebody's house phone or cell phone, a burner phone that they bought, and they get this, slappy jack on the line.
Announced herself as a foreign national, and she said, "I'm Phyllis Watson Bay, and I would like to see the warrant for the eviction judgment." Okay,
one, you don't need a warrant for an eviction. An eviction is a set of paperwork. They either deliver it to you if you open up the door. If you don't take delivery, they can tape an eviction notice onto your door. You do not have to have a warrant for an eviction. That is BS, pure 100% BS. That's almost like this.
Dumbass! You dumbass! You're a dumbass. Such a dumbass. You're an ass.
So that's pretty much where that floats to.
They never showed the judgment or warrant or anything. So
all that information too is if you've ever seen an eviction notice that has been signed by the judge and delivered by the sheriff's department. If you read that whole eviction notice, that's everything you need to know. So there doesn't need to be a warrant.
And I actually heard a lot of the things that was happening and taking place. So I wanted to do a complaint. Okay. Internal Affairs.
Yes.
Also wanted to know.
So even though he has nothing to do with this eviction, he's going to file the complaint, an internal affairs complaint against this department or against the officer who served the notice of eviction. So again, he has nothing to do with this. This has nothing to do with him. I guarantee he's not paying that rent. So in turn, nothing to do. He's just going to file a complaint because they think that's going to stop or cause something to happen.
So I wanted to confirm with you if consular notification procedures were followed.
No, because they don't have to call the consulate. There is no such thing as the consulate of Mormish. Okay? Mopes. You got to get that through your head. Just because you go buy a banner that says this is the consulate of the Moroccan Empire, the Moroccan Kingdom, whatever you want to call it, that's not how it works. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship doesn't protect you in this, and we have a video coming up where we're going to go through all 25, 26 articles of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship because we need to help them understand it because they don't understand it. And so, again, these officers don't have to call. Here's the other thing. It's no different if you're a French citizen, okay, and say you come here on a student visa and you rent an apartment and you don't pay your rent and they evict you. They're not going to call the French consulate. That's your responsibility as that French citizen to call that consulate and ask for help, ask for mediation, because maybe you didn't understand something in the law or whatever. It's not the officer's job to call anybody. Their job is to do exactly what that judge says. Here's the eviction notice. It's signed. Go deliver it to this address. And in most cases, they can tape it right to the door. They do not have to actually hand it to you. So, yeah, yeah. Again, they have this misconception that we have to call them to get their permission before something happens. A traffic violation, a ticket, you go to jail, you go to court. So, again, way out of their minds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because from what we heard over the phone, they weren't. But I just wanted to confirm if Corporal Johnson, badge number 206, and Corporal Green, badge number 485,
Yes.
gave her consular procedures.
They don't have to. Those officers don't have to give anything to her. All they have to do is just serve the eviction notice. That's all they have to do. That is all they have to do. They don't have to call an embassy. They don't have to call anybody. Usually what will happen is if a privileged individual, okay, say, we'll take for instance, say an ambassador from another country gets arrested. They're still going to go to the courthouse. Now, they may have diplomatic immunity. Okay, maybe they got busted for speeding, but it's not that officer's job to make that decision. What'll happen is they're still going to process them through the system. They're still gonna do their normal chain of procedure like they would. And what'll happen is because of this person, when they ID him, and they'll, for that kind of instance, I'd imagine they'd call a magistrate right away and say, hey, look, we just brought this an ambassador from this country, and due to speeding, that magistrate would probably look at that and say, well, they have diplomatic immunity, so we got to let them go. And that's what would happen. But they're not going to call anybody until they get that person to the station. So again, more BS.
Yeah, was that done, or do you have?
I would have to inquire about that. I can find that information before we leave here today.
Yes.
So here's the thing. I would love to see the report on this, because I guarantee you they didn't. So that, honestly, he's literally going to look for the report number, and that's all he's going to see.
Conversation, I'll definitely let you know that.
Okay.
And before we do anything moving forward, if I could I get somebody to actually pull our complaint forms as far as from internal affairs from the iDrive and bring me a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I can make sure that you have that in your hand before you leave. So to make sure you know, hey, there's a complaint or issue. You're well within your rights to fill out the documentation. You don't need to have it notarized. You just need to submit that back here.
Yes.
Or either there's an actual contact number to our internal affairs. If you feel uncomfortable with talking to myself or any other deputy, that you be able to actually talk to internal affairs directly.
Right.
So I'm gonna make sure you have.
So this sheriff's deputy, this might be the undersheriff. He is doing everything in his power to. He looks like he's a lieutenant from what I'm seeing. He's probably a lieutenant. So just listening to him, he's being very calm. He's helping them out, and it looks like everything. And through the video, it stays pretty calm. But it's just the BS. And I think what he's doing is he's just listening to this stuff. He's like, what the hell are they talking about? And probably what's going to happen, or what did happen, was after he heard this, he did one of two things. He probably went back, did a little research, like, what the hell is this shit? Or he just went back to his office and laughed his ass off because of the funny little hats.
Have that documentation before you leave here today.
Okay. Appreciate that. So, and also, when they get the business cards, she asked for the business card. Yeah.
Now, one other thing on the business card. For some reason, in their minds, and I don't know who told them this, they think every officer has a business card. That's not true. It's not a requirement. It's not an identification piece, and it's not a requirement that an officer has a business card to give. Now, some departments, because they're so big, they may have just a general business card where the officer will just write his name on it. It has general phone number, contact information. So that officer might just write his name and his badge number on it. And where in those departments, maybe it's only like detectives and up have a business card. So again, I believe you hear him say, well, they don't have business cards, so they can't give one if they don't have one. It is not a law. It is not a requirement. None of that.
Those
What? You just walked right back out the front door.
they are not currently here in the building.
Oh, so they have it on their person, the business card?
They would have their own personal business cards. We do not actually issue them business cards.
So right there, he just said if they had them, they would have their own personal, which means they went out and they got them made. Okay. And some officers do that. But again, it's not the department's responsibility. It's not a requirement. It's nothing. It's almost like one of those nice to haves, but it's not a requirement. Remember, the three forms of ID in an officer are this: the badge, the uniform, and the card.
The agency. Okay. So we have a template or outline in which it must be, you must have the agency information, you must have your rank, you must have your name and your ID number, and then also you would actually provide the agency's telephone number and also the agency's cell number that we provide for you. So those are the things that will be listed on someone's card.
So it sounds like it's a very general information. Name, rank, badge number, and then the department's phone number and cell phone number. So it doesn't sound like it's any personal information being given out. But he stated we don't do that. We don't give them business cards. Not our responsibility.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I still would need the reason why I would need the business cards because I need their whole name. I only have the position and the last name and the badge ID number. Okay. So I'll need the first name.
When you actually speak with our team of businesses, they can actually give you their whole information. That's something that, yeah, that's what they're going to provide now in reference to that documentation. So he has our information for terminal fee.
So it sounds like what he's going to do is he's going to file complaints against these two officers. I'm sure it'll be something like violation of rights, discrimination against indigenous people, violation of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. I mean, it's going to be the same BS I've seen on every other police complaint form.
So they can deal with any of the personnel issues or anything of that nature.
Okay. And also, there were 2 arms that were retrieved at the property. They said that they were abandoned.
Hey, when they finish,
So we have
let's go
right here
upstairs.
to
What's the
claim
credit
them.
card?
So what he's saying is in this one, there were 2 firearms that were left there. They probably were. I'm guaranteeing they probably weren't legally purchased or registered. Maryland, I believe you do have to register your firearms. And I'm betting they weren't registered. So again, what he's trying to do is get these firearms. And if they don't come back or register to the people that live there, or the people that live there can't prove that they're theirs, more than likely they won't get them back. They'll sit in lockup and probably end up being destroyed.
Let's just go upstairs in the office and get on speakerphone to make this transaction.
One full report case and that information, and then I can come back.
Okay. Now, and for future, because I know that you all weren't aware of our presence here in the Maryland Republic territory. You familiar with our treaty that we have with the United States?
There it is. There's that treaty of peace and friendship. They don't even understand that own treaty. They, again, I would challenge any of them to come on my webcast, go live, and let's discuss this treaty, because none of them understand the treaty at all. In there, when I started reading through it and going through it, one of the first things is court. He's not talking about the consular court or the Moorish court. He's talking about the king's court, the emperor's court, his advisors, his family, his trusted people that are around him. When he talks more, he's talking again. Remember, that was slang for Muslims, and again, it's not talking to these people directly. It's not giving them any sort of power or authority or diplomatic protection. If you read that treaty, it does nothing but talk about shipping, protection of shipping, ports, trade. And that's what it talks about. These individuals, for some reason, think this treaty grants them some super duper power. And all I have to say when I hear them say it is,
Dumbass! You dumbass! You're a dumbass. Such a dumbass. You're an ass.
and that's what it is. Now, here we go. He's going to get into his little peace and friendship treaty.
This is in regards to the treaty obligations and the protocols in this name. So we are all foreign nationals.
No, you are not foreign nationals. Can't say that enough. You are not foreign nationals. Guarantee you, they all have U.S. birth certificates. Guarantee you, they still all have their citizenship. They are not foreign nationals.
But we don't have U.S. issued IDs. Okay. So we have national.
No, they don't. They do have them. I guarantee you, probably that whole group, except that young kid that was holding that flag, who they're ruining his life. I guarantee you, they still have them, and probably a lot of them have them suspended. Suspended driver's license. I'm sure a couple of them probably have some unpaid tickets or had their car impounded a couple times. I know Mr. Lamont. I mean, he's got nailed a couple times. And again, what's really amazing is the committing of fraud that's here. You know, calling him a counselor, saying he's a counselor over the territory. You You know, and I really look at this guy and I'm like, man, he's got to be thinking in his head, man, you are full of shit. Literally. Full of shit.
Identification card.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Would you happen to have like an example of that, so I can just see exactly what we may run into?
Yes. Because this is what we were looking for. Ultimately, I was on the phone. I would see like the gentleman that I was speaking to earlier at First Baptist Church of Denard.
Okay. You happen to know that deputy's name as well?
You
I
talk about the
apologize, brother. I keep forgetting.
How?
Yeah. H-O-W-E-L. Okay, how?
Two L's.
Sergeant Howe.
And look at that. Look at this. How dumb do you have to be? How dumb do you have to be? I mean, it's bad enough these guys think they're the indigenous people of the land, but then they got the white guy over here playing along. Now, I don't know. I don't know if he filled out his nationality paperwork or he's got some indigenous claim to the land, but you got to be kidding me. Look at this. He's got these red and black gloves on, and he's got his camera here, and he was getting ready to whip out his Moorish ID card. So they even hoodwinked this guy right here. This is I'm
Jesus Christ.
that says it all.
Yeah, and we're going to be traveling also.
So it's a different forms of identification?
Yeah, just as long as.
Now what I'm going to do here is I got to end this a little bit. And the reason why I got to end this is because it goes into their same story over and over. I wanted to show you just how ignorant they are to the law, to the actual law, not their made up law. And you see it right here. It's just the ignorance of these people. The arrogance, it's over and over and over again. The same thing. And he goes in to say, oh, we'll be traveling through the area, and as long as we have this. Well, no. I saw a video from the fictitious Empress, Nitty, and she was talking about trying to see what was in store this year for the mopes. And my perfect analysis is, well, getting pulled over more, getting car impounded more, getting arrested more, paying more fines, getting your fake ID and tags stolen, or not stolen, sorry, that's not even the right word, taken and destroyed because they're fraudulent. You're still going to need a legal driver's license or operator's license. You're still going to need legal, legit insurance. You're still going to need to legally register your car. And right here, this shows it was not an investigation. Okay, that's what they wanted to name it. It wasn't an investigation. We know what he's going to do. He's going to go file a complaint, internal affairs complaint, and say these two deputies, or whatever he wants to call them, because they all got different names, policy enforcer, or highwaymen, or whatever they want to call them. They're going to say that deprivation of rights and conspiracy to commit whatever. And that's the sad part, the same thing. And it's been debunked so many times. I don't know why these people keep doing this. I don't, it's said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And the results have all been the same. We're starting to see more judges, more prosecutors go after these people because of what they do and putting them behind bars. And so we have this group right here, and they are a group that just keeps on giving. I have just scratched the surface to their videos. The next one that we are gonna do it's actually a really good one. I was really impressed. So we just did this one. There was no investigation. They were just going in there. He wanted to get names. Like he said, he goes, oh, I want the full names, because he wants to file a complaint. And then he's probably going to file liens against them, which will get nowhere. More of that paper terrorism, that fictitious liens type stuff they like doing. So what'll end up happening is we're also going to go into talking about a little bit more on just their overall ridiculousness. And I have a couple other videos that we're going to watch. And one of them that I downloaded just a couple days ago is Mr. Consul General Lamont Maurice L. He himself dismisses a traffic stop under consular jurisdiction on 2/5/2002. He has no power. He didn't dismiss anything. I think in his own world, his own mind, he did. But we'll be covering more of these mopes, and you know, it is what it is. But we'll keep exposing them. I do want to say in the coming weeks, coming days, we have some really good videos. We're going to start getting back to our roots. We're going to be doing some discussion talking about the MOOP Constitution. We're going to talk about some of their executive orders, their legal notices, public notices. Like I said, we're going to have that discussion talking about the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. We're actually going to be discussing that a little bit more, getting into depth in the definition and what it meant and what it was meant for. And then we'll get into even some stuff even further. We're going to get back to this. We're going to start looking at their laws. I'm going to show you guys how in every one of their laws there is this list of fictitious people. Not saying they're fake people, but the titles they've taken, like governors of California and chief justices, and it's just really, really weird. And I'm doing my best where I reach out to these states. And I try to find videos on them. I try to find out what they're all about, where these people are located. I try to find the websites that are set up in the area or Facebook pages so I can dig a little deeper on them. And so we're going to keep doing that. And we're going to keep pressing. I'm hoping sooner or later the state government these state governments really start to dig into these people, because it's fraud. I mean, it's fraud not only on the state level, but when you start claiming you're a chief justice or you're claiming that you're a secretary of state, well, you get into federal law as well, because federal law also goes after those who impersonate public officials, not just public federal officials, but public officials in general. And I mean, the biggest one is you've got three big ones. You got Christopher Bay, who thinks he's the president of this government. You've got Nettie, who thinks she's some weird empress. You've got of the Cherokee or whatever they want to call themselves. Then you have Light to Terry Bay. They all have their own little power struggles, and it's quite interesting how the three of them don't really work together. They all have their own story, and we're just gonna keep pressing them. Let them keep doing what they're doing. Let them keep putting themselves in jail. Sooner or later, I think those higher ups are so far into it that they can't get out. But I think as we keep doing these videos and keep showing that, look, none of this is legit. Everything you're saying is a lie. You're trying to get one over, and you think this is the way to do it. You're pulling laws that are no longer the laws now because they've been modified. I guess deleted or modified, so they're not in that same form that you're taking from the 17 or 1800s. Case law, again, cherry picking case law to fit what you want. That's great that you found that quote that fits what you're looking for, but you haven't found what the actual meaning of the case was, what the case was over. You just cherry picked a portion and thought it worked. So, again, thanks a lot, guys. I do apologize for not putting out more videos. Again, tomorrow we have another one. 10:30 is the streaming time we will be on. We are, like I said, we're very happy with the new lineup we have. We're going to start getting out our schedule. Be sure to check out our Facebook page. It is Doc's Taking on the Mormish. We have our blog out there, Stop the Madness. And so we're going to be writing more in our blog. We're going to be doing more videos. Morning Drive with Doc is going to be starting back up again too. And we're going to just be hitting on different subjects, different things. Again, we do those on Facebook Live through our Doc's Taking on the Mormish page. So be sure to go out and like that page as well. And so that way, when we go to do a video, you'll get notifications on that, and follow that page as well. And then, yeah, we just have a lot of cool stuff coming up. I have gone back through and exactly that. Exactly true, Pedro. So yeah, you know, we're trying to get our schedule back up. Like I said, I've started this new job, so again, I'm getting my schedule figured out, and we're just going to try to get the videos coming out to you on a daily basis. We do have again, Mr. Killeran. We have a great video. Listening to him talk again made me laugh. I laughed so hard. We found some information out on him too, that we found out that what he's saying again is not true. And so be looking for that video as well. That comes from the Zayneville's Files playlist. And we're just having a good time. And like I said, right now we're at 32 subscribers on our channel. Doc taking on the Mormish, Stop the Madness. And again, our goal is to try to get to that. You know, we want to get to 50. If we get to 100, we'll do a drawing for a giveaway or something. We'll figure out something to do cool for you guys, for just being awesome people. And so again, thanks a lot for tuning in and watching. I appreciate all you guys. That's why I do this stuff for. It's fun to do. I have a blast. And again, thanks a lot. We'll see you on the next one. The clinic is closed. Doc's on his way home. Take care. Have a great night. Be safe. And remember, laugh until you pass out. Doc's out of here.